Hey there, and welcome. Have you ever had that deep, bone-tired feeling that no amount of coffee can seem to shake? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. Today we're going to talk all about anemia, a super common condition that affects millions of people all over the world. So let's dive right in. So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to cover 5 main areas. First, we'll get into what anemia actually is. Then, we'll talk about how to recognize the symptoms. After that, we'll uncover the causes, walk through diagnosis and treatment, and we'll wrap it all up with prevention and the big takeaways. It's a simple roadmap to understanding your health just a little bit better. All right, first things first, what in the world is anemia? Let's peel back the layers and see what's really going on inside our bodies when someone has this condition.
Okay, think of it this way. Your bloodstream is like a massive highway system. Your red blood cells, they're the delivery trucks. And what's their super important cargo? Oxygen. Now, the special protein that actually holds on to that oxygen is called hemoglobin. When you have anemia, it means you either don't have enough delivery trucks on the road, or the trucks you do have aren't carrying a full load of oxygen. And the result of that? Well, your body's tissues and organs just don't get the fuel they need to work their best.
So let's move on to how this oxygen shortage actually feels. As we go through these common signs, just ask yourself, do any of these sound a little too familiar?
This right here is usually the biggest clue. And we're not talking about just feeling a bit sleepy after a long day. No, this is a much deeper kind of fatigue. Do you ever get winded just from climbing a single flight of stairs, or feel weirdly weak when you're just going about your day?
You know, what's so interesting is just how different the symptoms can be for everyone. You might have that intense fatigue we just talked about, or maybe you get dizzy. Notice you have cold hands and feet all the time, or feel your heart racing. The thing is, some people might have a bunch of these signs, while others might not really have any at all. Everybody's body sends signals in its own unique way.
Okay, so we know what it is and what it can feel like, but why does it even happen? Getting to the root cause is really the most important piece of the puzzle if you want to start feeling better.
So, the number one reason, by a long shot, is a lack of iron. Think of your bone marrow as a factory that's constantly producing those red blood cell delivery trucks. Well, iron is the absolute key raw material needed to build them. If the factory doesn't get enough iron delivered, it just can't make enough healthy, effective red blood cells. Simple as that.
So why would someone be low on iron? Well, it usually boils down to one of these 4 things. It could be what you're eating or not eating. Sometimes it's an absorption problem, where your body just struggles to use the iron it gets. It can also be caused by blood loss. Or it could be a time in your life when your body's demand for iron just skyrockets, like during pregnancy.
And it's really important to know that it isn't always about iron. Sometimes that red blood cell factory, the bone marrow, has its own production issues. That's called aplastic anemia. In other cases, like hemolytic anemia, the red blood cells are actually getting destroyed faster than the body can replace them. Things like chronic diseases or even a lack of other key players, like vitamin B12 or folate, can also be the culprit. Okay, I know this might all seem a little complicated, but here's the good news. Getting answers and actually finding a solution is usually pretty straightforward. Let's talk about the path to feeling better. It all starts with a simple conversation with your doctor. You tell them what's going on, and from there, they'll probably order a simple blood test called a full blood count. This test is the key. It's what measures your red blood cells and hemoglobin levels. If those numbers are low, more tests can then zero in on the exact reason, whether it's low iron, B12, or something else entirely. See? It's a clear step-by-step process.
Right, so once the cause is found, the treatment can start. A lot of the time, this means taking supplements, like iron tablets. And here's a pro tip, they absorb way better if you take them with vitamin C. But at the same time, food is a huge part of the solution. You can't just rely on pills. Pairing the right medical treatment with a diet that's rich in all the good stuff is really the best way to support your body for the long haul.
And finally, let's get into prevention and the main takeaways. What can we do to be proactive, and what's the one thing you should absolutely remember from all of this? So here's the bottom line. Even though anemia is common, it's not something to just shrug off. See, when your blood can't carry enough oxygen, your heart has to work overtime, pumping much harder to get that oxygen circulated. Over time, that extra strain can cause some serious problems. And that's exactly why listening to those early signs is so important. The great news is there's a lot you can do to be proactive. A healthy, balanced diet is always your best first line of defense. And if you have a chronic health condition, or maybe you've had surgery that could affect how you absorb nutrients, just staying in close touch with your doctor for regular check-ins is absolutely key.
So if you walk away with just one thing today, let it be this. That constant feeling of being completely drained, that's not always just a normal part of a busy life. It might be your body sending you a really important signal. You can think of it like the check engine light in your car. The real question is, are you paying attention to it? Thanks so much for tuning in.